We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. No, I really mean it, but think how we think about it.
It is hard to believe this man not only aged so drastically in 4 years, but in addition, the legacy he leaves behind, it will likely be deemed as a failure, as he did not do everything in his power to rally the electorate against another Donald Trump presidency.
Shout out to Joey, though. He was, obviously a horrible president, but very funny, right? Like the funniest guy we could have chosen to be president. Like, if you were voting according to who would be, like, the best hang, it would be him 100%. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, just a David Joe Biden, you know what I mean? He's like, meet me down by the river. You know what I mean? He just shows up on 2 jet skis, you know what I mean? Hands you a bunch of pills, like, take some of these. You know what I mean? He's like, hop on. I know a couple Puerto Rican bros that run a Baskin Robbins. Turns out the 13th flavor is
Comedian Stavros Halkias hilariously looks back with a different take. And many laughs will ensue when one hangs out with Joseph Robinette Biden.
People are waiting for relief.
I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for childcare. A lot has been happened already, number one. Number two, I'm going to fight like heck. Just remind him, I wrote the bill on the environment. Why would I not be for it? Guess what? Employers can't find workers. I said, yeah, pay them more. This is an employees bargaining chip now. What's happening? They're going to have to compete and start paying hard-working people a decent wage.
Biden, born in 1942, is 81 years of age. He has spent more than half of his adult life in Congress representing the state of Delaware. Speaking of, Stavros has a few thoughts.
Joey B, the king. It is awesome that he just gets to be like. Here's his whole life, right? Is the center of the. Who gives about Delaware, right? I feel like it's like 4 guys do a fist fight in the middle of the Delaware town square, and whoever wins gets to be the senator. You know what I mean? That's how it happens. Who cares about that? All they got is Rehoboth Beach. You know what I mean? Unless you're like a, I don't know, middle class gay couple. Like, what do you care about Delaware for, right? So anyway, so he gets to be the center of the estate. Who gives a about Delaware? It only exists so you have to pay tolls from Maryland to New York. That's the whole reason. Delaware exists to take tolls. That's all it's there for.
Jokes aside, it's the same old debate we have with states like Montana and Idaho and Nebraska. Why is there equal representation and the same amount of say given to states such as these when, for example, California has way more Americans, but their voices are essentially stripped? We're giving votes to land.
And then he's like, I'm going to be a Democrat, but I'm racist. That was his thing, right? We're just calling black people super predators and like that.
Man, I hate to do this because Stabby is one of my favorite comics out today, but it wasn't Joe, it was her.
But we also have to have an organized effort against gangs. Just as in a previous generation we had an organized effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
Now don't get me wrong, Biden has a very, very bad history. He was on the record opposing busing, which he was called out on in the 2020 Democratic debates by his now VP Kamala Harris. He supported the 94 crime bill, which led to a boom in the prison industrial complex, notes researcher Iname Shettiar of the Justice Action Network. Iname would say he did call it the Biden crime bill. In 2006, on an episode of C-SPAN's Road to the White House, Biden would say, you cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking. In January 2007, he said to Barack Obama, You got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy.
Biden was also a key architect of the devastating Iraq War. Responsibility for the war is often blamed on George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and other Republicans. But in reality, Biden played a key role as a Democrat. In the lead up to the war, Biden convened a series of Senate hearings to drum up support for the invasion on the basis of flimsy intelligence material being presented by the Republicans.
What is the threat from Iraq? Obviously, to fully answer this question will require us to have additional and closed hearings.
Not a single anti-war voice was invited to the hearings.
Once again, the list goes on and on and on.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president. And I'm Jill Biden's husband. Mr. President, welcome back to the White House, man. Feels like the good old days.
On this relationship, Stavros has an accurate take to add.
And then Obama's like, damn, I need a running mate that racist people are going to feel comfortable with. And they're like, we got your guy. We got the guy you need. Which is hilarious.
Let's dive further. Via NPR, his role on Obama's ticket was less to appeal to people of color than it was to reassure white people. They cite The Times, who wrote, Obama was deeply worried about a backlash against a black man at the top of the ticket and believed that an older white running mate would ease fears in battleground states.
And then, by the way, the thing I skipped is he's kept stealing JFK speeches. I don't know if you guys know this. This is a completely true story. He kept running for president and losing in the 80s. And he was just stealing JFK speeches. Like, he did it 3 times. It was an awesome move, right?
Is this true? We'll take it from the Washington Post's fact check.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children, the quality of our education, the joy of their play.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children, the quality of their education, or the joy of their play.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price, bear any burden, accept any challenge, and meet any hardship to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
And we'll let you be the judge on that one. For more on the hilarious Stavros Halkias, go to www.stavy.biz to check out tour dates. His Instagram handle can be found at StavyBaby2, and of course, Facebook at facebook.com/StavyBaby. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.